It's so much coming up.
We really have. We've got at 10:15. We've got Gina Dickerson, who's an author from England, who's going to be talking to us about her dark short stories in a collection called Underleaf. And then after that, we have Mary Rose McGrath, who's going to be giving us all the spring and summer fashion hints.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be talking in the second half to Sarah England, another author, and she's going to be talking about her the sequel to her Father of Lies book. And on from our I suppose our variety of authors that we've had on the show to talk about their artistic endeavours, we're now joined by Gina Dickerson, who is the author of dark fantasy. Gina, welcome to Belfast 89 again.
Hello, good morning to you both.
Good morning, Gina. Hi,
Hi.
You're going to talk to us about Underleaf, your collection of dark stories.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they're all a collection of short stories. There's a varying theme throughout the whole book, between horror, murder, paranormal, with themes of jealousy, betrayal, some loss, some sort of slight sci-fi tales as well. And hopefully they're terrifying, some of them at least. That's the aim of it.
How do you actually set about writing a short story, Gina? Because I find it nearly impossible to tell a story in a brief period of time.
I've written short stories for quite a long time. I used to write stories more than novels, so I've always found them quite easy, I suppose, in a way. Some of these ones were inspired by dreams. I must have some pretty weird dreams. And I just sit down and sort of start plotting them out. It might start with a little spark of something, very small. It could be anything. It could be something a normal day would make me think, I can make that into a story and give it a little twist to make it a bit weird and unusual.
Do you have a preference, Gina? Do you prefer writing in the longer form, or do you like the shorter stories, or do you just like to whatever the story is or how it presents itself to you?
Yeah, I think whatever the story is, if writing a short story, I'll have it in my mind, but I've got to keep it to so many thousand words, so I don't start going all off and filling it up too much. Try to keep it more concise in a short story so that the writing is a bit tighter and less information in there, in a way, just enough to tell that story. Because I wrote some of these and they were published in anthologies previously, in shorter forms, which I had to stick to a word limit for that, which was only about 2,000 words, which isn't much, really, when you are trying to tell a story, so it can be hard.
And I hear you've illustrated these latest books as well, Gina?
Yes, some little illustrations. I'm not the world's best drawer. I've always drawn sort of cartoony type pictures, really. So they're just simple line drawings that I drew out by hand and put into the book as well.
And when you're writing, can you sort of see those visuals of your characters as well? Is that something that's really clear to you, or is it more in like the word form?
Yes, I can see them, sort of see through them in a way, as it is, to experience the story and to work through them in that way.
It's very difficult. What I find very difficult writing short stories is not to explore any particular character in depth, as you said, not to go off into other, into other story trails. You've really got to have a discipline where you keep it so tight.
Yeah, it's more like a snapshot of their life, just a short bit of their story. It may not be the whole story that involves around them. It's a short story of part of their life. So some incident happens to them, and that's sort of what I focus on in a short story.
So is that more like you're giving people a taste and leaving them wanting more, rather than exploring the whole thing type thing? Yeah, you know, should you finish reading a short story and be like, I wonder, about A, B, and C, about the character, or where it could go, or?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. So there is a conclusion to leave people satisfied, but then sometimes there are some that leave you a little bit of a thought in your mind, like you say, I wonder.
How many stories are in this collection, Gina?
There's 16 in this collection.
And are they all set in modern times, or some of them in the past, some in the future? You mentioned sci-fi.
Yeah, they're all could be modern day. it's the feel of the story. It could be sci-fi, the first one. It's about a woman who goes to an office, and it's not all quite as it seems in this office for her new job. So that's a slight sci-fi twist for that one. But it is more modern day. It doesn't time travel back or any fantasy lands or anything like that. It's all normal, real life.
Which is actually more frightening in a way, because if it could be happening today, then that's more likely. In a way, there's safety if something is set in the past or in the future, that it can't actually affect you. But if it's something that could happen right now, that's much more terrifying.
Yeah, I think it could be, yeah. 'Cause you could think, well, this could happen to me. And hopefully that's what people think when they read it, oh, this could really happen. There's some horrible, chilling stories in there, murder, revenge stories, and a bit of possession and other strange things.
And I suppose there are all scenarios that we're all kind of fascinated by as well, you know, for a little bit of a journey into the imagination for a while and exploring those themes, but in like the safe context of a short story.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Some things that maybe you think, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wonder what would happen if.
Could you ever picture yourself writing something like a romantic comedy, Gina?
I don't think I'll be very good at comedy. My stuff always tends to be darker, so if there had a bit of murder in there, or revenge, or something along those sort of lines, maybe.
It could be a romantic murder rather than a romantic comedy.
Yeah, I think I would find that hard, it's alright.
So how did you find your genre then? What was it that sort of drove you to those darker stories?
It just feels right to write it. I've always written that way. I did try many years ago when I first started to try and write my first full-length piece. I tried to write a light, romantic, contemporary, what you call chick lit novel.
So we know that you're not into the romantic comedy because you gave it a go.
yeah, exactly. And I couldn't help it. The characters just ended up killing each other.
Well, you know, that's probably closer to the reality of a romantic comedy than what's written in the book.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I'm laughing because I tried the same thing. I tried to write something romantic, and I was bored writing it. Actually, I found myself so bored at the end of the first chapter that I had them kill each other.
Yeah, to make it more interesting.
What horrible people we are.
But it must be something about exploring the complexities of human nature as well, isn't it? Those dark aspects of ourselves that we don't perhaps like to look at ourselves or anybody else to see.
Yeah, I think so. Nobody wants to say they have that kind of a dark side, do they? Or have thoughts like that, because they'll all be a bit of an outcast, really, or shunned. Like, terrible person.
But we all do have that side, or the human race probably wouldn't have survived if we'd all been sitting making daisy chains all day.
And falling in love.
And falling in love. Nothing would have happened in the world.
No, it wouldn't have been very interesting, I don't think.
So where can people actually get your collection of short stories?
It's available on Amazon at the moment for the Kindle, and it's also in paperback form across all Amazon sites. Or direct through me, through my website, where people can request a signed copy if they feel like they want one.
Okay, so that's Underleaf?
Yes, it's called Underleaf, and it's a collection of dark stories.
How did you choose the title, Gina?
I wanted it to sound like you're venturing under something, and Underleaf is a play on a word, say underleaf, under the page, under a leaf of paper.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So you want them to be page turners as well? It's like that sense of people becoming engrossed in the story?
Yeah, hopefully, yes. And then they want to keep reading the next one after. They're all slightly different, so hopefully if they start reading them, there's enough interest to think, oh, this is different, and to carry on.
I suppose it's great because there's so many layers as well. It's like you're digging down into the depths too, isn't it? The depths of the psyche.
Yeah. Yeah, descending into the depths of darkness.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Gina, thank you so much for joining us today, and really, best of luck with the new series.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back on your show.
No, it's great to have you.